Howdy, folks. In this world, um, this was the first time that I actually apparently got my spawn point saved in a bed. Um, this was not a spawn. I think the spawn is somewhere in that jungle. And this was the version that jungles were added. Um, and so if you remember the last couple of videos, let's see if I can kind of find where spawn was. You can't really even tell because of the jungle kind of took over where that desert was. I think one of these lakes was where it was before, something right there, right there. Um, but because the jungle overran it, I kind of moved away from the jungle. This was my first house. This probably doesn't look very appealing to most of you, but this was back when Pocket Edition, the free version of Pocket Edition, it had infinite amounts of wool. And what I would do is I would find an island. So that's what I did. I found an island, and I would mark the perimeter with and build a house on an island. And then as I would go up, I would go one level out every single time. So that's what we have here. That's why we have this upside down pyramid. I had a little bit of a farm there inside. Now I made this a very open concept house. Yeah, tried to make the inside look a little bit more appealing than the outside. I even started to do some fancy carpeting, but didn't have enough wool to finish. This was the beginnings of my storage room, kind of sorted out mostly, and then apparently it doesn't like that one. I think that's because the petrified slabs is what it used to be, and now in order to spectate I'm in version 1.9. But this was back in version 1.2. And also you'll notice that there's still stuff here. When I leave a house, I like to kind of leave it as a story, so wherever you go you're gonna find stuff. I usually take half of the stuff and leave the other half, so that in the event, like I'm doing now, I'm going to post it, then people can explore for themselves and do what they want with it. I think this room, yeah, I had cows in that room. I don't know where the cows have gone. There were cows, and I didn't kill all the cows, and there was also some sheep. That's why there's little patches of no grass in a few spaces. So yeah, I don't know where the animals have gone. Maybe that's a quirk of being in spectator mode. But then eventually I got kind of bored of building this one style. I didn't really know how to expand it out any more than what it actually is, because it's quite large already. And so I moved, and I moved into this. Now, if you've watched my other videos, you may recognize this spot a little bit. This was the giant hill that I had my castle on in version 1.0. It's shrunk quite a bit. Same with the next mountain over here. But I decided to take it and kind of combined what I did with the first version and with the version 1.1, where I made a perimeter around the lake. I didn't make it just right around the lake this time. There's a couple areas there, but it kind of had a hill all the way around, so I made a perimeter with the hill included, because it was kind of a natural formation. Yeah, I definitely had animals here, so it must be a spectator mode. Now, I actually got fairly far in this world. I was kind of starting to not really know what I wanted to do, and so I'm kind of happy with when I ended up dying. Although I don't really know what happened, but I'll get to that in a bit. Looks like we can't enter the Nether, so that'll be a surprise if you want to download this world for yourself. But I kind of, when I moved, I stayed mainly in this. This was kind of my main base of operations. This is where I'd put my stuff to unload before actually heading down into my storage area. Now, it took me a long time to decide how to organize my storage area, but I ended up designing it like that. And feel free to look at that. I'm not going to go too much into detail. But then for the centerpiece, I put grass under here. It took a while to grow for some reason. There was it didn't like the light because I had it get down through this area here. But yeah, one thing that I was going to change eventually was instead of having the leaves go down, I was going to have them domed, kind of like what I was going to do in 1.1. But I was a bit scared of the lake falling in and dying in the water accidentally. So I left it for now. And that would be the I was really excited about this view with the that eye type thing at the entrance, but then I realized that 1.2 doesn't really have working boats, so I never really used boats much. Not until the very end when I decided to map out one full area. And that's what got me started on the next project, which ended up with me dying. And I'm not entirely sure how. I think it has something to do with how terrible boats were in 1.2. I died right there in the boat as I was gonna build this into a volcano. So it's a nice ocean structure with a nice deep area in the middle. I don't know how this naturally generated. You don't get these structures. Well, maybe you do, but not very often in later Minecraft. Now there's a couple other secrets, like what's held in the Nether, and if you go exploring, I'm sure you can find traces of what I did. But yeah. Now, I think I'm going to record my progress through the next world instead of just getting a summary video. So let me know if that's something that interests you. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.